Welcome to Mastering Innovation Together with Scott Turriff of Galt and Chris Koomey of Thorben Consulting. And Galt helps business owners improve their business credit intentionally. And one of the things that we've talked about is as a life, like most people that are entrepreneurs are lifelong entrepreneurs, right? You're kind of unemployable by choice. That whether like you're going to go from this business to the next business to the next business. So as long as you continue to be in business, understanding how to build your business credit can really help.
That's true. The funny story is I've never had a real job.
Right.
I mean, I've
Someone
never
asked
had
me
a
once,
boss.
someone asked me for a resume. And it's like, I haven't had a resume in 30 years.
Yeah, I've never had a boss my whole life. I've always had my own business. I've always done my own thing, and I'll tell you, it's not been easy. I mean, I've made some really stupid mistakes, and I've learned through a lot of the entrepreneurial side of understanding it. And I think the one missing piece of the puzzle for a lot of things that I did, believe it or not, was not understanding how to build credit inside my business. And now all of a sudden I'm 57 years old and I'm looking back at it, I'm like, wow, why didn't I understand that? But yet I'm not at fault because majority of the business owners out there are running into the same issue, or they think it's not important because they're already successful, their business is already doing good, and they're like, why would I upset the apple cart? And like you made a comment, being the entrepreneur you are, you realize I'm doing the same thing. I just now am utilizing the tools that are at my fingertips, and I'm not really changing your business practice.
Yeah, I think part of it as an entrepreneur, you're always optimistic. So you're like, I'm going to pay it anyway. So I don't really have to worry about that. Right.
Right.
I'll figure out a way to continue to grow, to make it work. And so that's part of, I think, where we're not focused on really building value. And so I think with the entrepreneurs I work with, part of it is just getting them to intentionally, with the same actions, the same level of activity, be more intentional about building value that's going to allow you to get financing from someone else. It'll make you more attractive to be purchased
Right.
or just make it a more profitable business.
Well, here's the key. Have you ever thought of this? This is what I'm doing with one of my LLCs right now. Is I've started up an LLC and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. The problem is, what I'm doing with it? I'm building credit inside this LLC. So it's like a shell. It's not a shell, but it's an LLC that I'm actually building credit in it. So when I do find something that I want to do, I'll have an LLC that is already established, has a credit, has all the credit there. So I won't have to go put my name on the line and I won't have to put my neck out on the line because this LLC will already be established. It's baby steps. It's nothing big. But at the same point is if you look at this, if somebody wants to do a verbo, if they want to do this, you start to build your LLC up, you start to build the credit for it, or it's kind of like building a business that you don't what you want to put in it yet, but yet it's established. And
And
it's like getting the credit. It's a great opportunity.
and all what we want to do is basically be copying people that are successful. And in the financial world, one of the big things are called the special purpose acquisition corporations, the SPACs.
Yep.
And so basically people were funding companies, building up and making them ready for and getting lining up credit so then they could find a company to buy and then basically take them public.
Right.
And that's what private equity companies were doing. And what you're talking about is really doing that on a smaller scale, which fits the more individual entrepreneurs. Is basically this is kind of our version of a SPAC, is have an LLC that's building credit that could take advantage of opportunities as they arise, as opposed to having to scramble to create one when you see a good opportunity.
Absolutely. And taking my kids and having them start to prepare for something like this because they all say they want to be an entrepreneur, they want to do something, but now all of a sudden we're giving them an opportunity to take a look at this. And what Galt does and what business credit does for people, it works really well in my opinion for the company, the person that's striving, a true entrepreneur, somebody that's totally going for it and has to stick their neck out on the line. And we've all done it. But what I want to do is I want to help them that they don't have to have that fear of losing their home. They don't have the fear of something that could happen to them down the line. Let's start to take some of that anxiety away from people and put it onto the corporation. It's nothing, you're not doing anything different. You're just taking a company and having it stand alone without you behind it, if that makes sense. And that's what we want to do, is have that company stand alone without your personal backing.
And we always want to be balancing risk and reward. And I think one of the falsehoods of being an entrepreneur is people say the greater the risk, the greater the reward. And what we really want is lower the risk and greater the reward. Right. And those
in the beginning,
control if we're in control.
Yeah. And in the beginning, as an entrepreneur, when you're starting off and you're young and you're trying to find an idea, you have to take risk and you have to stick your neck on the line, because nobody wants to give you the money for it. Nobody really wants to work with you. You have to prove to them by you signing your name off that you're capable of doing the job. But the older you get and the more assets you accumulate, the more conservative you get, and you kind of lose that entrepreneurial spirit because you don't want to lose what you already have. And that's what this is kind of doing. It's helping you to it's helping you to step aside and let your ideas be perfect ideas, but standalone ideas, without having to risk your own personal security, family.
Yeah, and basically it's in making it so you're not making all or nothing decisions.
Right.
Basically, everything is, hopefully you're making progress, but you're moving forward without taking monstrous steps back. And sure, I mean, we both have had opportunities where we've taken 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. But what you don't want is take 2 steps forward and take 5 steps back.
Right.
Or 10 steps back.
Well, like, for instance, one of my last businesses I was in, if I knew more about this business credit, it would have been a totally different situation. I mean, I'll be honest, I would have saved money on my lease. I would have saved money on other things that I had to sign a personal guarantee on. And I had 16 years to build this credit in this company so that when the things changed around, I wasn't on the hook for it.
Yeah, and COVID pulled the rug out of a lot of businesses. So there's definitely a lot of entrepreneurs that are in that exact same spot where everything was going well until the world turned upside down.
Right.
And it's that unexpected piece. That's what the credit helps you with, is that even when the world turns upside down, it gives you a way to kind of get back in the game and do it productively.
Yes, and I would say, we all like, for instance, I have a great scenario, great question to ask a lot of people out there. So I'm going to do a little quiz. So those of you that are listening, let me ask you this: there's 4. It's a quiz on your credit. Is a 720 a good business credit score? Is 540 a good credit score? Or is 50 a good business credit score? Or is 100 a good business credit score? What's going to happen is most people are going to say 720 is a great credit score. You're right. For personal, individual people, 100 is a perfect credit score for a business. And everybody has up here in their head that 720 is a good credit score. Because I've asked a lot of my friends that are business owners, and I go, what's a good credit score for business? And they all go, oh, 640, 700, 750. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's what your banker wants. That's your banker wants to make sure that you can pay your bills back, but why not do a business credit score? And then it is interesting, they don't see that, because another scenario, somebody very close to me has a big business and doing very well. And I said, what's your credit score? He goes, well, let me call my accountant and let me ask him. And I just go, I'm pretty sure he's not going to know. And he goes, oh, I'm pretty sure he's on top of it. And I'm like, well, we'll see. Calls me back 2 minutes later. He goes, you're right. They have no idea. And they've been around in business for years.
Yeah, and it's really just we haven't thought of it in the same way. We're always focused as business owners on top line revenue, bottom line cash flow, how do profits work out, and how are we going to continue to grow. But part of this exercise and part of what you're helping people do is really say, how do I intentionally get benefits? How do I intentionally grow value every day as I build my business?
Right. And the nice part is, it's like, for instance, like in your business, you're already established and you're just, tweaking the wheel a little bit to benefit from this. If you're a new person coming in and you're trying to figure it all out, then to take a little more homework, you're still going to all get there. If for instance, if it's a brand new company, you're going to get there. It's going to take 6 months to a year. But if you're already an established company and you're already doing it, now you're just reporting properly, it's going to take a shorter window. And that's what this is about. I mean, I got stories upon stories of people that have jumped into this and they're like, this changed my world, and I love it. And they're not worried. They sleep better at night. I sleep better at night when my name's not attached to a big loan somewhere that it's relying on a business like COVID or certain things happening. So, help yourself sleep better at night by just understanding the baby steps of credit, especially in business credit.
And entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of the U.S. economy. And what this does is help people be a more effective entrepreneur. So Scott Turriff from J. Galt, thanks so much for sharing this with us. sturriff@jgalt.io. Thanks for mastering innovation together with us today. Thank you for mastering innovation together today with Thorben Consulting. This is Chris Koomey. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy the show, if you have any comments, questions, or just want to learn more about what we do. Thanks for joining us.